So when you're on the job, what dating is now, if you go to sue, I will sue some of you, you get to meet other police officers. So when they go to these calls, you'll be at the locker at the end of the day. So if you go to that call, yeah, and they'll give you the little small details in the moments, and the stuff with the kids that hurts the heart. So anyway, that guy is currently sitting in jail, and he'll be there in theory for the rest of his life. All right, stories. Let's find out minimum qualifications to apply. All right, you must have grade 12 diploma or your equivalent. You must be a Canadian citizen or have your PR. If you have your PR and if you just come from another country, you have to be in Canada for 3 years. But I always recommend applying at the 2.5-year mark because you have to be in Canada for 3 years with your PR to take a job. So the actual process, which I'll explain later on, it takes about 6 to 10 months. So you can really get started on your application. But you have to be in Canada for 3 years for sure, and you only need your PR for a year. You have to be at least 18 years old. You must have proof of social insurance number, meet medical health and fitness standards. I don't think you're going to have a problem there. I know you didn't have a problem getting that. Class 5 non-GDL driver's license, that's a must. Here's a big one, no criminal activity within the last 3 years. Strong credit history. You must pass all vision, hearing, and medical standards, and no criminal convictions. So I haven't seen yet where a person had a criminal conviction in something where they got a pardon and they got on. That's not to say that it couldn't happen. But the big one is the no criminal activity. So I'm just going to expand on that piece for a little bit. So what that means is detected or undetected. So for example, let's say, actually I'll give you an example of a young lady. She's like 29, I'm going to look at my 52. So young to me. Anyway, she was at work and she took something, I think, lost and found. I think it was a gloves or something small. And as she relays the information, that stuff had been in that lost and found for a year and a half. So she went, she took that, and then she never returned it. And as her story goes on, she doesn't remember what she did with it. But in essence, you're taking something. So I think it's pretty neat, but just to give you an idea of what that looks like. Now, as a male, say as a young man, this man don't make the best decision, especially when you're young, this guy. So let's say you go for a night with your friends, you're out at the bar, you actually have a few drinks, and you get into some sort of altercation with other people in the bar that night. But then you go your separate ways. So that'll be classified as undetected, so it's causing a disturbance. But also, there's no such thing as consensual assault by definition. So all I'm saying is that as you go about your day-to-day, that's how fussy we can get. Now, in the event you're the next big thing, and something pops up in your personal disclosure form, and it was 2 years ago, we'll backdate it to then, and we would simply just defer you so that when you apply the next time, you're starting with a clean slate. That's it. Next slide, Katie. Thank you, Barbara. Ready? You can go to the next one. Okay, here's the recruiting process. I wish somebody told me about this when I first got on. Sorry, when I first started applying, like I told you, I applied 4 times. It took me a while to get on. So the good thing is that the application process is super fast now. It's all online. And there will be a slide at the end. It shows our website with all the information there. But anyway, you'll be able to apply online. So before I get before I go on, I can tell you that stages 1 to 6 are completely, more or less, in your control. Unless you're being at the interview stage, it'll be a bomb. But the amount of work and effort that you put towards your goal to serve the community, the better. So the application, it's really long. You will not finish it within a day. It'll take you a long time. The first half of the application is data you can speak to. It's all, past employment, some references perhaps, all that kind of stuff. We're going to ask all the people that you lived with in the last 2 years. And we want all their names and we want all their dates of birth as best as you can provide. And do you know why that is? The reason is, and actually, I'll give you a really good example. So when I applied to the RCP the first time, and I didn't get on, I was living with this fellow from my hometown. I knew he got in trouble from time to time, but he was a good buddy of mine, and they were both 19 years old, and maybe you're young, who cares, right? But here I am applying 10 years later, and they're like, this particular fella, and they actually asked me if I was still associated with him, because obviously more stuff has happened since then. And I haven't seen him since 2019, no problem. But we want to make sure that everybody that gets selected is going to be a good, outstanding person for their community. So anyway, that's the application. The last half of the application is all personal disclosure questions. We're going to ask them every dirty, nasty question that you don't want to ask, that you don't want to answer. And I know Gideon can speak to it later on with you guys. Almost all those questions will not apply to you. So back in the day, when marijuana was illegal, I tried it. High school. Anyway, but back then it was actually illegal. So I wrote down X number of times, and I had to try and say when I took it. I said, I don't know. And then asked how much. I said, a lot. You know? But that was when I was like 18, 19, 20. When I decided that I wanted to be a police officer, I shut it down. Right then and there, I had that internal knowledge where I could shut it down. But anyway, we're asking a bunch of questions. Be honest. Put everything you possibly can on there, because we can get to the end, you actually have a truth verification. And if you don't remember everything, as the process goes on, after you get a file manager, if you remember something new, just send us an email and we'll update your file. Because honestly, as you discussed earlier, it's super important. So stage 2 is the application review. That's where our admin team is going to make sure that all the stuff that we ask for, like your education credentials, your eye test, your test, all that kind of stuff that the application is complete. When that happens, we're going to give you an opportunity to write the entrance exam. It's an aptitude test. So I highly recommend that if and when you get to that stage or beforehand, seek out some resources. So back in the day when there was no internet, I bought a book for like Chicago Police Service. I had no idea. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do. But at least it helped me sort of determine or to help me practice some of the questions that I might get asked. Like a big one is memory recall. So in the beginning, I took the first few tests, just like the ones that I gave myself, I did terrible. But then as you practice, your brain changes and you start to think differently and then you start to do better. So I found that was really helpful. If you Google Alberta Police Practice Exams, there's a company called Police Prep. I heard that a lot of applicants use that stuff. Did you use anything? Yeah. Police Prep. Anyway, I will say this. If you show up to write that test and you have not practiced, you will probably fail. So the reason why I know this is because I actually hear it all the time from all of our managers. But about 2-3 weeks ago, I went to help out with the exam. And I was the guy that got to give back the results. It was so awesome. And there were people that failed quite badly. And the first thing I asked them, I was like, what did you do to prepare? I said, nothing. I thought I would just give it a try. I'll tell you for free right now, this career is not something I'll just throw something at the wall and see if it sticks. You have to put the effort in. I was not the best student, as I told you guys earlier. But one thing that I do know how to do is work hard and to actually push and persevere. And I did that, and I was able to get through the APCAT. So I highly recommend that you do that as well. My guy Dean can help if you guys are interested as well. After you write the test, now is the PT test. So our PT test is pretty wild. I don't think it was as hard as when I did it, but basically there's 2 elements. There's a obstacle course, and then there is a bead test. Who knows about the bead test? There's your hand. Anybody? Yeah. Very nice. Except for Mike. So basically, the first half of the test, it's an obstacle course, and you have to do 4 circuits of a small obstacle course that takes up about a quarter the size of a normal basketball gymnasium. You have 2 minutes and 10 seconds to finish that. Then you're given a 10-minute break, and then you do what's called the leger or the bead test. And there is a video online on our website on here, where basically there are two red lines that are 20 meters apart, so 60 feet, and you run back and forth according to a beat. You will hear a beat, then you turn and you hit it, and then you run back the other way. In the beginning, it's fairly easy. Then as time goes on, the time that you have to run between each beat, it gets shorter, shorter. So I highly recommend that you watch that video, and if you want to come out to work with a recruiter, you can even try it. But for sure, you want to come fit. Do you need to be like an Olympian? No. Do you need to be like Gideon, the Olympian? So he was at the top and by far high performer. But if you just commit to fitness, you will be able to do it. I'm an old man with skinny little ankles, and I can pass it at 52 years old, so you can too. And if you're not there yet, the great thing about the human body is that it's very malleable. If you just put effort into your thing, you can do it for sure. Anyway, that's that. And there is a video there. Okay, so here's stage 5. Stage 5 is your disclosure interview. So now at this point, if you pass the physical, you're now going to be a file manager. You sit down with the file manager, and he's going to talk to you. He's like this, and he's going to be like, what's with this question? I want to know, right? So what they're going to do is they're just going to go through every question that you have answered, question by question, and they're going to break it all down. The reason why that they do that is because we get all the way to selection. If the selection board has any questions, then in theory, we would have dealt with buyers experienced file managers first. And then there's the panel interview. So I'll say this, before the panel interview, they have something now that I wish that I would have had back in the day. And so we have a workshop. And during that workshop, there's going to be only 6 of you. And there's going to be a police officer that's going to teach you and train you how to articulate yourself for your interview. That actual interview it's called behavioral circuit interview, and it's based on the premise that past performance dictates future performance. So we're going to ask you a question about stress management, and then you're going to give the answer back to us in the way that we want to hear it, and we're going to train you how we want you to do that. I wish that would have been there back in the day, because I'm going to go on there. But as I also said, that could have changed all my options, and I would much rather be here and tell you that for free. But we are going to teach you how to do it. And so what you do is you take those lessons from the workshop that we're going to give you. It's all free. And then you're going to write down all your examples. Then you're going to say it out loud. Then you're going to record yourself. Then you're going to sit down with somebody that you know really well and practice like that. And perhaps with somebody that you don't know as well. Because ultimately on your special day, when you are there, actually interview, yes, you're going to be nervous because there's a lot of emotional, like your emotions are going to be tied to your success. You just worked super hard to get there. The application, a lot of work. The AppCat, a lot of work. The APREP, a lot of work. So now you're at your actual job interview. Right? This is pretty much the last hard thing that you have to do. But if you put in all the prep time, now you're like, yeah, I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited to share my awesome life experience. So I'm a big believer that reps will take away stress on the day you have to perform. That's my personal opinion. Like I told you, I'm very average, so I have to put in more reps. So after you pass your panel interview, go home, high-five yourself, because all the hard work's done. The stuff, the sweating, the studying, all that stuff is done. But you still have 2 parts that are left, but you can't study for this stuff. One is the psych test. I can't speak to that. It's administered by our psych services section, and you have to fill out a bunch of bubbles, and then it's going to come back with a pass or no pass. We have had people that have been unsuccessful at the psych stage, and usually defer every 6 months. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I'm not a psychologist, but I have seen it. There is a dude that I know who's actually attended our first ever regulatory recruiter. His name is Ranveer Singh. He failed the psych test twice, and it didn't make sense. So we actually arranged for him to meet with our psychologist and then sit down and we went over some questions. And in the end, he ended up getting on. So my understanding is that there is a one-on-one with our psychologist as well. But the only thing you can do to prepare for your psych test is to have a good sleep, have a good breakfast, come in, and don't do any stress about it. After that is the polygraph. So who knows about the polygraph here? All right, so the polygraph is where we hook you up to a whole bunch of stuff. And what's going to happen is the polygrapher is going to go through your entire personal disclosure form. So I'm going to tell you this thing first. Don't Google how to make a polygraph, because guess what question they ask? Polygraph. Don't put tax in the shoes or none of that stuff. Just go in. Just know that you're already awesome. You've already answered, honestly, all the questionnaire that you have there. And just accept that it's going to be a very weird experience, just like the movies. And it is weird. When I went there, I was super stressed. I tried to pretend like I wasn't. I went through the whole thing. It took about 4 hours. And the person that's actually conducting the polygraph or the interview, they're like a retired investigator for homicide. Like, there's not a line that they've heard, and they've done thousands of these polygraphs. So you cannot be. So just please don't, oh, I want to make this easier. I'm going to try to find out how I beat the polygraph, and we'll ask that question. And then it doesn't look good, and you'll probably not go for it. Something else that we have, it's called a CDSA. So it's a voice stress analyzing instrument, and it's been used in the United States for like 10 years. And it just, the software takes into account your voice. Now, I can't speak to it any more than that, because anything I say would be probably wrong, but my understanding is that it's a very reliable device. But again, you've just gone through, and it's far less stressful. You get to sit in the file manager's office, it's cash, there's mood lighting on, nothing's hooked up to you, you're going to be okay. Anyway, after you pass that, be happy, be excited, because your actual work is done. There's no more work to be done. But you will still be anxious, right, Gideon? Because if you still got to find out if you pass your polygraph, which of course you will. But there's stages that the police have to do now to finish off your application. So we're going to do your background investigation. So that's where we're going to peel back the onion. All the information that you put in your application, we're going to call them. We're going to ask them for 3 names. We're going to call those 3 people. We're going to ask them for a bunch of names, because we want to get a true reflection of the person that is going to be going for us, that is going to be offered a contract to work for the Calgary Police Service. So you have to wait that out, and then eventually it goes to pre-selection and selection. So all that means is that we have civilian and sworn officers of the Calgary Police Service, and they take your files home and they read absolutely everything. They're going to go through the whole thing, and to be quite honest, back in the day, if you got to that stage, I was like, yeah, well, 95% you're going to be successful. It's not the case anymore. They know that the community, they have high standards. And so they will have high standards. And have I seen people get deferred at that stage? Yep. I can't imagine how that feels, but it does happen. But all you can ever do is the best you can for the time that you're in, to be honest, and that's it. And as long as you follow that pathway, you will get the job that you want. Now, so here's the best part. So you get selected. That's the best thing ever. I have to ask you, Gideon, who's your file manager?
Christine.
Oh,
Christine.
Christine?
Yeah. Just Christine.
Oh, Christian, gotcha. Yeah, so I can tell you right now that they're all amazing file managers. I'm going to put you on the spot here, okay? Tell us exactly how you felt when you got that call.
I felt really good. For me, I know the recruitment process takes about 6 to 9 months, but mine only took like 2 months, because before applying I was already in the process with RCMP and I was at the final stage. So when I got called by my recruitment, my file manager, I told her, hey, my family is here, I really want Calgary Police. It's because I didn't pass my APCAT on the first trial. That's why I applied with RCMP. So I explained a bit to her. My process was really fast. So yeah, I had no issues about it. I knew I was going to go down.
You pumped? Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting because